Consider this your trigger warning. The following program is strictly satire and is not meant to be taken seriously. So don't get all butthurt, you liberal snowflakes, just because we skewer your sacred cows and expose all your lies and hypocrisy. Truth hurts, and so does satire. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and enjoy the show.
Well, hey, everyone. Merry Christmas to one and to all. It is December 21st. It is Sunday, which means it is the zoo. It is Sunday Night Live. And I'm wearing a Christmas red shirt. And in the next few days, at some point, I'm going to do the annual 'Twas the Night Before Christmas and follow that up with the Christmas rendering of Hooker and Blow. Anyways, that'll be fun. We'll do that. But for tonight, it's the regular zoo, which means you guys are in charge of the content as much as you wish. We've got thepreparedmind.club. We've got subscribestar.com, our two guerrilla funding sites. We also have YouTube and YouTube as well as X Live. And I think we got Rumble and BitChute and who knows what else Jolene has got us poked on or people are uploading us to. I just don't know. But if you want to be here, you can be here live every Sunday, and it's open for everybody. You don't have to be a guerrilla prepper. I like that, guerrilla prepper. You don't have to be one of those. We're all here live every single Sunday. Today is no exception. Christmas is coming, but don't worry. It has hit the fan, and it's going to keep on coming. If you've got something to say, we've got a super chat button right up there. That'll get you on the screen down here. And then down in the comments section, down in the video description, we have Venmo, CashApp, and PayPal. If you don't want to do the super chat button up here, we've got other ways for you to reach out, communicate, and let us know what you're thinking and what you want to share with the rest of the audience. This is Sunday Night Live, and it's your show, so we're going to get on it. Now, of course, always, any super chat donations of $50 or more buys me a single malt scotch, Glenfiddich 18. And guess what? Darcy T is starting out this week with a $50 Christmas super chat. And I've got my Marine Corps 250th anniversary shot glass that was sent to me by www.pewter.com. Good guys over there. They sent me a flask, a keychain, but a shot glass. Here's to you, Darcy T. Semper Fi. God bless. Merry Christmas. Oh, that's a Merry Christmas right there. I had to be careful, though. The other shot glass that Man got me has that bullet in the middle of it, so I mark where my 1 ounce shot is. And this one, it's just a wide open cup. So let's have some more fun. Let's see what Darcy wants to talk about. Basically, she said, hey, it's just a Merry Christmas, but she also sent me something else. Another one bites the dust. And so she sent me a master chef has unexpectedly died at age 42. Unexpected, huh? Unexpectedly. The guy is 42, says Darcy. And of course, no cause of death provided. No cause of death provided. No details. They don't want us to know. But you know what the fact is? The fact of the matter is they are now going to put a serious health risk label on the mRNA vax. They're going to put a label on it if they haven't already. It's been deemed dangerous. The government, the Food and Drug Administration, has let it be known that this is not what they were selling it before. They're not coming out and saying, hey, we screwed up. Everyone with a vaccine injury, we'll pay you off for it. Oh, yeah, but look, I know people now that are telling me I got a vaccine injury. And I don't ask for details because it's none of my business. If they want to volunteer, they volunteer. Someone else that I've heard about recently that's close to the Prepared Mind family but not in it has cancer. in their 20s, they've developed cancer all of a sudden. How bizarre is that? Of course, a good friend of mine in California died, got injected, and died on the spot. Japan is very pissed off. Russia wants Fauci to be turned over to them for crimes against humanity. The Jim Jones juice, or the mRNA vaccine, is incredibly dangerous. It is gene therapy, folks, and it's still out there. And can you remember, though? Do you remember how we were being told that we should all just die? That if you don't take that, your kids can't go to school. You should be fired. You should be debanked. You should be removed from everything. You shouldn't even exist. You're stupid if you don't take the vaccine. You're putting everyone else at risk if you don't take their vaccine. And then they came out while we were having all of these troubles. They came out and said, we've discovered that if you take the vaccine, you're more susceptible of catching colds again, or COVID, if you want to call it that. And but then they said, well, yeah, you may get it more easily, but you'll overcome the symptoms faster. How do you fucking know? Everyone's different. Most of us, if we ever had it, wouldn't have known anyway, because the major symptom of having it was not knowing you have it. Unbelievable. But people have died in the millions, and it's still out there. They're still pushing the vaccine and the boosters. And your favorite local neighborhood work and family Democrats, they love that shit. Some of them got a little bit upstairs, and they said, hey, you anti-vaxxers, all of you guys, you're bad. Not because we didn't take it. I want to remind everyone it's the season of giving, and I want to give the gift of remembrance. Remember when these dumb fuckers actually came out and said, you didn't tell us not to take it loud enough. You weren't serious enough. You weren't stern enough. You weren't demanding enough for us not to take it, so we took it. And now they're sorry. They have vaccine regret. Ho, ho, ho. Maybe these people out here, since they believed in, the Dr. Fauci fairy, I guess they can believe in Santa Claus and ask for good health and no side effects the rest of their life. We'll see what Santa brings them. Folks, these people out there, very, very, very evil. It's your show. It's Sunday Night Live, folks, right up there. Super chat button. And I've got a $52.43 super chat donation from Chin Music. Chin, you need to get your question into me and Uman, though. He did a Venmo donation of $50 plus a $2.43. Just one hell of a good caliber, by the way. Flat, decent range, good little round. In any event, thank you, Mr. Chin Music. Get in your comments and questions. For the rest of you, it is your show. It is Sunday Night Live. And what does that mean? Well, it means it could get a little crazy around here. It is Christmas time. We're at 200 people live right now. 200 people live right now. And I think that there is a lot to talk about. And I'm going to turn the show and the questions over to Mr. Uman. I've got a slew of things to discuss, but it's your show. Like I said, I want to give you a chance so I don't steal the thunder. And here we go. And it's Big Dan the Man with a $10 kapow super chats. He says, my super chats will be minimal from now on. My 86-year-old mom is having trouble keeping up with all the price increases. Been sending her $350 a month to help out on 2 years from retirement myself. Good golly, man. That is rough. Dan, I tell you what, your super chats, they all add up. It all helps. See, what we need to do, and all we need to do here is keep the lights on, pay the bills, pay for the subscriptions, pay for the, what do we call it, the server and the routers and all that happy horse shit we got to spend. to get our commercial site, and we're good. Everything that you guys do seems to be keeping us floating. Good. As far as your mother, 86 years old, having trouble keeping up with the price increases. You know what I found fascinating is how much I've heard gasoline has dropped. 86-year-old elderly folks don't do a lot of driving, and that's not going to help them any. But I did notice that, yeah, gasoline has come down quite a bit according to the news. I haven't really paid any attention. In fact, you know what? I don't pay a fucking lick of attention to it. I know it's not good normally, and I just need to fill up the tank, and that's it. But yeah, $350 a month to help out. I believe that. I believe that that's how that goes. You know, it's times are going to get tighter here. And so I do appreciate all the help and assistance and also the topics, the subject matter. But I can't, it's still frustrating to me, Dan, that your mother is probably receiving Social Security. She's probably receiving $2,000 max. I don't know. I don't know for sure. I know what Social Security Department sends me little pieces of paperwork, and essentially it would barely pay my utilities and some basic fundamental bills, and of course, some food. If I had to pay rent, wouldn't be enough. I don't know how anyone can live. Meanwhile, the United States government, state governments, city governments are giving thousands of dollars a month. If you believe the federal government has quit paying all these fucking illegals, you might want to step back and ask yourself, are they telling the truth? Ask yourself, do I really believe the federal government is not giving these illegals money? The reason I say that is they're fucking lying to us left and right, up and down, back and forth, every single day, day in, day out, etc., Dan. For example, they released the Epstein Files list legislation. It was not just, we're going to do this. It wasn't the president saying, yeah, I will. It was Congress, both the House and the Senate, passed it. They can't pass anything else. They can't pass a voter protection thing, a paper vote, ID required, same day voting. They can't pass any of that. They can't pass anything of any fucking substance. Well, they passed this, released the Epstein thing. Trump signed it. Went back to the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the Attorney General's office. And Pam Bondi herself. Yeah, they released it, folks. It is a shit pile of pages, all fucking redacted. How is that transparent? How is that a release? Numerous people, experts have said, this is a violation of the statute that you guys passed. The law wasn't for us. It wasn't for me and you. It was for the government to release the Epstein files. We get a couple pictures of Clinton in a fucking hot tub in a swimming pool. Really? Got a picture of Jizzy Maxwell on a plane with someone's toes stuck between her tits. That's supposed to do it. And then Pam Bondi comes out and says this is the most transparent administration in American history. I remember when Barack Obama used to talk about how transparent they were. You know, by saying that, by saying we're the most transparent, it's making the lie 100 times worse because she knows they're full of shit. She knows they're fucking liars. She knows they release crap. But to the average American who won't go read or look, who doesn't come on here with you guys, they'll never know. They'll just believe, yeah, they're transparent. They released everything. It's just fine now. Where's all the fucking arrests? Right? Because we have this expectation that you release the names, you release the information, you release the photos, you release all the data. Someone should be arrested. No. So Pam has lied. The FBI has lied. The Department of Justice has lied. Kash Patel's lied. Dan Bajina has lied. Trump lied and said it was a hoax. How can we have all of these files, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages of evidence that has to be redacted black because it's a hoax? Why doesn't it say at the top, FBI hoax? FBI hoax and all the information. Don't believe a fucking word. It's a hoax, and then all the information. Because it's not a hoax. Because they're protecting national security secrets. You know what those secrets are? Bankers, politicians, rich industrialists, foreigners, and of course, everyone together, the intelligence services like CIA and Mossad. They don't want their names and faces released having anything to do with a convicted fucking pedophile. And here we are. So there's a point. There's a callback on this, Dan. The callback is don't believe a fucking word they say. Don't believe the government. Right? They say they're not giving money to illegals. I don't fucking believe them. They're liars. All the way to the top. And I will continue to call out any Republican or any Democrat or anyone else or any foreigner or any institution or any religion. If it's anti-American, if it's evil and dangerous, if it's trying to affect our lives, and if SHTF is going to come as a consequence of what they're doing. Thank you, Big Dan, for the great Christmas support. Yes, sir. And let us continue if we shall. You've got something to say? Super chat button right up here gets you right here, like our good friend from Scotland, Bob Hunter, with a £2 super chat donation. And he says, John, you and Uman are special. Love you, brother. Hey, it's, brotherly love for you, Mr. Hunter, and the kitty cat, of course, and everyone out there. It's the season. Right? It is a Christian holiday. Christmas, Christian holiday. Bob did a £5 super chat donation and says, John, what does it feel like to be the best human being on the planet? I can't claim to be that, Bob. I appreciate the compliment and the generosity. I am far from being the best human on the planet. It's almost embarrassing now. I'm a sinner, man. I am not good. But what I haven't done is sold my country out. I haven't sold out my culture, my traditions, my republic, my nation. I haven't sold out my religion. I haven't sold out that way. Sorry. Not sorry. I say sorry because I'm imperfect, but I'm not sorry for not selling out the way all these fuckers are. Now, Bob, you said you got balls of steel, John, and what a great human being you are. Love you. Now, as far as the balls of steel goes, I've spent the weekend reflecting on what it is that we try and do on the Prepared Mind channel, the Prepared Mind Network, and everyone we communicate with through the rsyndicate.com, everyone we communicate with individually from friends communicating with friends, and we're all networked and linked together, Bob. We have, as of late, because of the Charlie Kirk assassination, the assassination cover-up, the lies there, and the involvement of Israel to the extent that the leader of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, who's actually Polish, he's not from Israel, and he's not from Israel. He's not from Palestine. He's not from the Middle East. He's from Poland. In any event, he jumped out and just protest too much. Started saying that Israel had nothing to do with killing Charlie Kirk, while 99% of the country had no idea that it was even considered. It was only considered by conspiracy theorists and independent researchers who wanted to find a boogeyman to blame. And then Netanyahu, they put out advertisements showing Trump and Charlie Kirk together and saying that Charlie Kirk was like Israel's number one fan. It just smelled a lot. And since then, you, me, all of us in America, in Scotland, in England, in Canada, and Australia, we've all been subjected to this. You're all a bunch of anti-Semites. White people suck. We hate your guts, you conservatives, you free people, right? You're all anti-Semites. And if you don't agree with us and fund us, then we're going to fucking kill you, or whatever their threat is, right? In fact, Netanyahu came out and threatened Australia again. Basically said, how many times do you have to be told to pass more anti-Semite laws? Right? You've been warned. It's like, Who did the warning? What? So it's not just me, Bob, but I appreciate that you have noticed that I'm not afraid to step up and say, Israel's involved in a lot of different ways all around the world, including in American politics. I am America, America first, and America only. We fix America, great. Right? I'd love that. Then we can go and help the rest of the world again. But we, like a patient in the hospital, are sick. America is sick. It is being infested with parasites in Washington, D.C. We've got parasites from Islam. We've got parasites from Europe. We've got parasites from Israel. We've got parasites from China, all trying to buy influence. While you and I, Americans and anyone doing business in America, are paying a shit pile of taxes and getting nothing for it. So I don't mind pointing that out because I do have the First Amendment, Bob. First Amendment says I can say whatever the fuck I want. I can't scream fire in a crowded public room. I can't do that. But I can't threaten the President of the United States or any of these dumb motherfucking politicians. I can't threaten to kill them or harm them. But short of that, I can say whatever I want. I can criticize a religion. I can talk shit about a religion. I can make stuff up about a religion. I can absolutely fucking lie about any religion I want. It is my right. Now, Almighty God might not like some of the things I say, but hey, I can talk about any country I want, any state, any nation around the world, regardless of their victim status. Ukraine, oh, we're being hurt by the Russians. I don't give a fuck. You brought it on yourselves. Israel, sorry. You don't get a special pass. You just committed a horrifying crime called genocide. Not to mention all the other crimes you guys commit. Not to mention the fact that you've bought all of our politicians that you can. And you're threatening anybody who doesn't toe the Israeli line that you're going to primary them. Talk about threatening politicians. Right? So balls of steel, well, I've got balls. I know that. And I don't mind talking about what I perceive to be facts, truth. And I will share conjecture and even conspiracy theories from time to time. But that's what they want to do is scare us into silence. Now, over in, the United Kingdom, especially in England, especially in London, you can get visited by the police for sharing your opinion. You're not allowed to share an opinion. You're not allowed to think different than what they say and then try and say something else. See, no one's going to complain. And the government's going to, well, no one's complaining. I guess all these girls getting raped by these Muslims is just fine. Well, no one can complain. No one's allowed to complain. When they do, they get fucking arrested. So, of course, there's not going to be any political dissent. And that is the number one reason for having the First Amendment. So if the government's fucking up or a foreign government is interfering or we see treason, criminality, we can point it out without fear of being persecuted, prosecuted, threatened, or dicked with. But what does Israel say they're going to do? If it concerns them, they're going to ruin your life. They're going to come after you. They're going to do everything they can to destroy you and teach you a lesson. I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck. But let's understand this. So the Jews of Europe tell a story called the Holocaust, saying that 6 million of them were killed in prison camps in World War II and during World War II. They were concentration camps. They were gassed, they were burned, and whatever. And so what they don't like is the fact that they were victimized by a powerful political organization that could do whatever it wanted to them. So what does Israel do when they don't like anyone talking about them? They use their political power, their wealth, and their influence over our government to punish and destroy us. Doesn't that sound a little bit hypocritical on their part? They don't like being told, we see what you are, we don't like who you are, we're going to send you to jail, we're going to take away your whole life from you. When they say, we don't like what you Americans say, we don't like how you do it, we're going to take it all away from you and ruin your fucking lives. The very thing they bitch about, short of them cooking me like a fucking pizza in an oven, is that they want me to shut up, go away, get out of sight. But isn't that what the Nazis did to them? They told them to shut up, get on the train, and get out of our sight. But it's okay for the Jews and Israelis to do that now? For American Israeli Jews now want to threaten me in my own fucking country? Completely ignoring the fact that we have this Constitution? Oh, it's a shit show, folks. It is one hell of a shit show. And it's just going to get nastier. I just don't like someone threatening me. Dave Chappelle. Everyone knows Dave Chappelle, right? Black guy. Bald. Funny as hell. Super comedian. Been around for, 30 years doing comedy. He came back out. He's back out on tour now. And he was talking about the fact that, he was criticized for going to, I believe, Dubai or the United Arab Emirates. And he was told, don't you know that they killed a journalist over there? That's the Khashoggi guy. Am I getting the right name? Khashoggi? In any event, man. And he's like, I'm getting that warning from the Israelis. Didn't they kill like 240 of their own media and press? Who the fuck are they to talk? And he says, and it's part of his comedy. Of course, he's funnier than I am. But he brought up the point at the end. He says, I need a code word in case they, the powers that be, ever get a hold of me. They ever co-opt me and make me their bitch, basically. He says, I'm going to have a code word. So if you ever hear me say these code words, he goes, never listen to another word I say. And he goes, okay, here's the code words. I stand with Israel. And he dropped the fucking mic, literally, walked off the stage. In other words, he exposed them with his power. Stu Peters exposes them. Owen Schroyer exposes them. You know who the big one is? The big enchilada? Right now, Tucker Carlson. It's not that he's an anti-Semite. He just sees Israel for what it's doing. How it's politically controlling, how it's trying to take our rights, how it's trying to steer the way people think with propaganda. That's absolutely wrong. If you or I have something to say, we can bring up the point, have a discussion. If you want to defend Israel or Ukraine or China or any fucking country, all you have to do is make an argument that's superior to mine and you win. Right? That's the deal with Israel. You can, look, guys, all you have to do is have a better argument and you win. Instead, they want to silence and threaten and punish. Sounds to me like they're pretty guilty of what they're being accused of. We don't control the media. They say that. We don't control media in America. We don't control the media. And then what do? They're buying up all the media. And then they're telling us publicly that they're going to use their power to silence us. They're using their control of, social media to stop us from saying they're controlling social media. Unbelievable. Okay, let's keep going, man. Let's keep on keeping on. And Bob Hunter is back with a 10-pound super chat. He says, John, love for my cat. I tell you what, give that kitty cat a nice little pet on the head and a little scratch behind the ears and down the back. And cats are funny. They crack me up. Dogs are great. Cats are great. They help us, so much. They're wonderful things. In any event, Bob, thank you, sir. And Mr. Uman, let us continue, shall we? We've got 300 people live on this Sunday. It is the 21st of December, the Sunday before Christmas. Wednesday is probably going to be when I do my my reading of 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, and it'll be fun. Nancy Cake checks in with a $20 super chat donation, and she says, Merry Christmas, Prepared Mind, and Happy New Year to all. Nancy, little sister, I tell you what, thank you so much for your great support. We need a question or comment out of you. I've got a lot of topics, but I really like to hear what you guys want to discuss. Even if you just bring up a subject, I know what needs to be said about them. Every now and then you guys, what do? You hit me with something I'm just not aware of, but pretty infrequent, and it cracks me up when it does happen. But we're at 300 people live. What I need everyone to do is give the video a thumbs up. Do it now. Thumbs up. I'll wait. I'll wait. And also share the internet address. Share it with friends, with family, with loved ones, with coworkers, and even people you don't like. Because I guarantee when they see this Christmas scene, they see this smiling visage of a white guy, they're probably going to be very mad at you for turning you on to this. But anyways, no, I do need you to share because people need to wake up. You need to be a subscriber to get into the comments for 5 minutes. But please, share the internet address, thumbs up, be a subscriber, and it helps us grow. In fact, for the first time in over 2 fucking years, our subscriber numbers are finally going up. Finally, after 2 years of being held down, hidden, and killed, we just might be starting to grow unless they put the brakes on it. Now, I think 3 years ago, I was just doing the show with Uman and Jolene as normal, and we grew in 1 month, 10,000 subscribers. That's when it took us up to the 80,000 that we're at on one of the YouTube channels. And it was crazy. And then we haven't grown since then. In fact, you're just under 80,000 right now. And our second channel was stalled at 4,600, 700. We're now over 5,000. Wonderful news. It's because you guys are hitting the thumbs up and you guys are sharing the internet address, the YouTube address to the show, and people are subscribing and they're liking what they're hearing. As crazy as that sounds. Zuman says we're back to 79.8 on the original channel and up to, 5,020 on the backup. Is that 5,020 or 5,000? Yeah, 5,020. In any event, the numbers are different depending on where you look, but thank you, Mr. Uman, for that. The topics, SHTF, needing food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. I get it. It's already a tough subject. But then you throw in the other topics that over the last 5 years have been incredible. From COVID to St. George Floyd to the riots, the mostly peaceful riots, to the Jim Jones juice vaccine, and then the Biden theft of the election, and then the attack on Trump and the arrest of American patriots. See where I'm going? And then we find out the FBI is full of shit. We find out the Washington, D.C. police are full of shit. We find out all kinds of crap, all through the Biden administration, as they're pushing homosexuality, drag queens, transgenderism on children. We find out the kids in school are being raped by these fake trannies. And then we just get blasted with these transsexuals, transgenders, homosexuals going on murder rampages around the country, including schools and churches and church schools. And then we get to this year and we get, then we got Trump attempted assassination. We got promised everything in the world and got jack shit out of Pam Bondi and Kash Patel. Right? Then we get Charlie Kirk assassinated. We've got Israel stepping up and showing us how ugly they are as a nation and a culture, with every rabbi revealing everything and how they hate white people, they hate Europeans, they call us names like goy and cattle, and people are not rejecting me for reporting what we're finding. That's great. I think Americans, regardless of your color, are up to here with this shit. Did I leave out the Palestinian crap and the pro-Palestinian crap and the fucking riots and the fucking attacks and the terrorism and the threats on Americans and the fact that, we found all these illegals in this country? Yeah, I left all that out. There's so much shit been going on. And to bring it up, for me to bring up any of these subjects could, turn someone off if they don't like it. Oh, I forgot about the Ukraine war and the freezing of Russia's, $300 billion? And now Europe wants to steal it, threatening World War fucking III and nuclear missiles. And Ukraine, oh my God. everything Ukraine has done, sending their people into the jaws of a death machine. The Russians are now the most trained, most advanced, or I should say experienced military on the planet, because they're fighting and been fighting for years now a war. They've been perfecting drone warfare, right? There's all kinds of shit going on. And it could piss somebody off, and they'd stop watching, stop listening, stop thinking, stop sharing, and just go away. But that hasn't happened. We've seen an uptick in subscribers and an uptick in interest. And I call on you guys again, please be a subscriber. Please share the internet address and thumbs up, because that tells the computers at YouTube Central and at X and everywhere, people like this message. All righty, let's do it. Mr. Uman, who's up next on the Prepared Mind channel? And we've got Northern Hillbilly. Here we go. It's not so much that they're protecting pedophiles. They don't want you to notice how Israel controls politicians. Bum, bum, bum. Very, very interesting, huh? It's true. And Northern Hillbilly says it's not so much that they're protecting pedophiles. They don't want you to notice how Israel controls politicians. What he's referring to is the Epstein list, the client list, the list of information, the all of the evidence that they had. I mean, they're supposed to have, folks, like 30 gigabytes of video on computer hard drives. They released nothing because they don't want us to see what's going on. But more importantly, they don't want us to notice who and how. So I think Northern Hillbilly is correct. It's not so much that the United States government is protecting pedophiles by not releasing the Epstein files, the Epstein list, the Epstein papers, is they don't want everyone to notice that Israel is controlling American politicians by using these pictures, videos, and visits to Jeffrey Epstein's Rape Island. They want to continue to use that as blackmail and extortion material. Right? They want to bribe, blackmail, and extort American politicians, but it's bigger than that. I'll go one step further, Northern Hillbilly. It's not just that. It's the banking elite. It's the corporate elite. You know, like Bill Gates. Bill Gates. Microsoft, Bill Gates. Guess what? Bill Gates has spent, what? He's been there, 20-something fucking times? How many times has Bill Gates been to Rape Island with Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton? And I mean, it's alleged that Jimmy Kimmel has gone there, and Barack Obama, of course, and Tom Hanks, allegedly, right? They don't want to tell us because every one of these people, oh yeah, Hollywood is completely engulfed in that. And by engulfed, I mean burning. They're on fire with guilt and shame, and they're hiding it. They're all controlled. But if this list comes out and we see, hey, Senator such and such, and Representative such and such, and CEO from Company X, they're all exposed. They're all compromised. They're all fucking pedophiles too, but they're being controlled. Right? So when Coca-Cola came out and told you, be less white, whether you're black or not, you need to be less white. Right? Folks, look, I know black guys that are, they're black, but they're white. They talk, act, think, behave, work just like me. And I'm sure they're hated by the political left, just like me. Right? But they don't. Israel does not want us to know that they're controlling politicians, bankers, businessmen, super elites, rich people, etc. They don't want us to know that because then they lose their control. Right? Breaks their hand. And then we can look at these people, all these people, and it is a national security issue because these are politicians who are making decisions on your behalf and mine and our children and grandchildren. They're making decisions based on what Israel wants because they're compromised, because they have raped little boys and little girls. That's what this is about. It would be great if they just released the names and we arrest the pedophiles and we're done with it. But Israel doesn't want that to happen. Neither does England and the city of London. They don't want that. That's how they control America. And Trump looks so freaking compromised now after meeting with the Israeli American congregation in the White House and through a giant menorah lighting ceremony. And Mark Levin, who is a sack of shit. He is an Israeli first, America last, and he uses American media to spew all his bullshit. He demonstrated to the world that Israel controls the White House. You want to know how he did it? He stood at the podium with Trump, President of the United States, a man who typically, in all situations, carries himself physically with dignity, even though his mouth doesn't bespeak the same thing. But physically, his body language and carriage is of an upright guy who can't be screwed with. Mark Levin throws his arm around him and is shaking the president. He's showing that he's got his arm around the presidency, that Israel does, and that they're going to puppet master him by shaking him all over the place. It's not dignified. It's not presidential. But there they are. And then Miriam Adelson, billionaire Jewish Israeli, said, hey, we'll give you another $250,000 if you run for president for a third term. Naked, brazen, scary, folks. Very scary. You know what's stopping them right now? This Constitution. This Constitution is stopping Israel, stopping these dual citizen Israelis that are over here in America. It's stopping them from coming to your house, knocking on the door, throwing the cuffs on you and hauling you off. Same thing they complain about happening to them in Germany. They getting a knock on the door, being told, get the fuck out. What a world, folks. Mr. Uman, let's continue on, shall we? We've got, on this nice night, we've got Viking Boomer with a $20 super chat donation. He steps in and says, Talmudic Jews and Islamists are almost two sides of the same coin. One's waiting the Mahdi and one's waiting for the Messiah. The only difference, the Jews don't attack non-Jews. Okay. This is interesting. So, yeah, the Jews do not have the same Bible Christians do. In fact, they don't really follow the Bible, the Old Testament. They like the Talmud, which is, if I want to be as accurate as I can here, the Talmud is kind of like the Federalist Papers. See, we got the Constitution, and then we got the Federalist Papers, where a discussion about the Constitution and our rights to help us get a better understanding of what it was all about. Well, the Jews have the Torah, and then they've got the Talmud, which is a bunch of rabbis complaining and arguing and talking and explaining and justifying their belief system and how it works based on the Old Testament books, several of them. Right? But when you read the Talmud, you discover some things that you didn't and never would have suspected. Right? And Ben Shapiro and other practitioners of Talmudic Jewry, thank you, Moo Man, they reveal themselves and who they are. Right? They say that Jesus was a troublemaker and he got what he deserved, and that he's for misleading people. The man known as Jesus is boiling in excrement in hell. That Mary was a whore, and that Christians and anyone who is a non-Jew are given a different designation. They're not human. They're not the same as the Jews. They're not as good as the Jews. In fact, Jews are superior not only to Christians, but to everybody. Now, the Muslims have some similar thoughts and ideas, that they're better than everybody, that they're superior. But they go about doing what they do a little differently. Right? It's the Muslims want to pretend to be weak until they have sufficient numbers, and then they come out and violently attack people. No. About 640 AD, right? The year 640, Muhammad got a visit, he claims, from Gabriel the archangel, and he was given the Torah, the Quran. And so from there to 700 to 800 to 900 to the year 1100 and 1200, for about 500 years plus, Arab Muslims throughout the Middle East began invading Europe by going across Africa and then up the Iberian Peninsula into Spain and France. And then on the other side, they went up through, Syria, Turkey, and into Eastern Europe. And what did they do? They also went into Sicily and Italy. What did they do? They robbed, raped, murdered, and burned until the Christians finally said, enough of your shit. So the Muslims come right out and get very, very violent. Now, the Jews, on the other hand, don't violent. So when you say the Jews don't attack non-Jews, not with knives and guns and swords, no, they prefer trickery. They've been thrown out of, as a people, 109 different times. Jews over the last 1,000 years have been kicked out of countries, the whole country, whether it's Catholic or Protestant, whether it's small or large, whether it's Eastern Europe or Western Europe or Central Europe. They just tell them all, get out of the country. We're expelling you because of your ethics, your business practices, your sexual licentiousness. Most people don't know that the reason that the Nazis burned books wasn't because they hate information and knowledge. It's because the books they were burning were pornographic. The books they were burning were about transgenderism and homosexuality. The books they were burning were the Talmud because of the shit that was being written and said about Christianity and Christianity's savior, Jesus. And they're like, that's it, you people are out. Right? So they do have a lot in common. Two sides of the same coin. They both believe in having sex with little kids. They both believe that they're superior to everyone else. They both believe, my friends, just everything. I know I've gone over it, and I don't want to go over it too much, but yeah, these two religions hate everyone else, think they're superior, and believe it's okay to have sex with kids and to steal and kill people. All you've got to do is look up Talmud and killing Gentiles and Goyim, G-O-Y or G-O-Y-M. Muslims have the same thing, and they'll lie about it right to your face. People on the street debate Muslims. They read lines from the Quran, and they lie about it. They just fucking lie and say, oh, that's not true. Well, it says it right here. You want to kill us. It's okay to kill us. You should kill us. It's okay to rape women. It's okay to take advantage of people. Crazy business. I tell you, folks, I don't want to be anti-Semitic. The Muslims are Semites, or the Arabs are anyways. The European Jews are not Semitic. I may have more Semitic blood than most of them. Who knows? Anyways, because they don't do DNA testing anymore. They quit doing it. I tell you what, we've got Chin Music has some questions and comments up, and he did a $52.43 super chat donation. And after all that, I need a scotch. Okay. There we go. So I'm going to pour this scotch that Chin Music has purchased through his donation, and he's got some topics to discuss. Okay, so I guess I'll do the drink first. Chin Music, thank you, sir. Thank you to one and all. God bless America. Merry Christmas. Oh, mother's milk. Woo! Okay, let's do it. What does Chin have to talk about? He says, so now that Georgia has admitted to voter fraud, timeout. Yes, the state of Georgia has admitted publicly, for the record, that cheating happened. Fraud. Okay, let's continue with Chin music. We'll have to go back one there, Mr. Uman. If the sackless, meaning no balls, no spine, weak rhinos can't bring themselves to arrest and jail someone, then the next time they ask me to donate, they can fuck off, drive to the end of the road, turn right, and fuck off some more. I'm with you 100%. And yes, I know Democrats might win, but please tell me why, when both sides are kicking me in the jewels, that I should vote for the sides that's nice enough to do it barefoot. That's just it. The right wing, the left wing, the Democrats, the Republicans, they're the two wings of the same shitty bird, a filthy, stinking vulture, which is carrion, which eats the flesh off of things that are dead. That's the bird we have in Washington, not the majestic eagle. It's a stinking vulture, and it's feeding off of the flesh of America. The rhinos, they pretend like they're for America, right? The Republicans. They pretend like they're for America. And what have they done for us? Have they fixed the voting system and demanded voter ID, paper ballots, and same-day election? No. Have they arrested any pedophiles? Because the Republicans are in charge of the Department of Justice, the Attorney General's office, the FBI. No, they haven't. They haven't arrested any of these pedophiles on the Epstein list. And they have the data. They have the information. They have the videos. They have the computers. They have the hard drives. They have the pictures. They have the letters. They have the emails. They have all the communications. They got everything they could out of Epstein's apartment in New York City. They have everything they gathered off of this island down in the Caribbean. Not one single fucking arrest. The Department of Homeland Security, Border Patrol, and every other 3- and 4-letter organization in Washington, D.C. under the Biden administration left our borders wide open, told non-government organizations they were giving money to send in every illegal they could from every shithole country, including Central and South America's violent death gangs. No one from that administration has been arrested or held accountable. Hell, we've got fucking judges in this country letting criminals go, both American and foreigners, who are out there raping people, assaulting people, robbing people, and murdering people. And these prosecutors and these judges, all Democrats, let them right back out, and they go right back out and kill people, burning them alive, raping them, etc. Horrifying. Absolutely fucking horrifying, and no arrests. Republicans aren't arresting anybody. Up in, well, we just talked about, Jim brought up Georgia and election fraud. Let's go up to Minnesota, where Ilhan Omar lied, is full of shit, has admitted that she served Somalia, not America, married her brother, fraudulently applied to get him over here, and the Obama administration dumped 900,000 Somalis? That's a huge fucking number. Right in the middle of Minnesota, to create a radical, anti-American, retarded, inbred, literally, population and district that has committed billions, and I mean billions of dollars, in fraud over medical fraud, welfare fraud, all manner, folks. They all lie and say they've got autism, so they get special money. They all lie about everything. They're fucking liars and cheaters, and they fucking grifted off of all of us. And here they are. That's the difference, though. Democrats will allow all that to happen, and they'll arrest American patriots for pointing it out. Pointing out election fraud, pointing out Ilhan Omar and AOC and Rashid Tlaib and all these fucking left-wing idiots. They'll come and arrest us for it. In fact, they're threatening to do just that when they get back in power. Republicans, on the other hand, are a bunch of testicleless, spineless, gutless, brainless, heartless, helpless, hopeless fuckwads who won't do a damn thing to fix this fucking country, and they've got power. They have the power of the legislature, and they've done jack shit except cover their asses and serve Israel and protect themselves. That's it. Where's the arrests for the open borders? Where's the arrests for the election fraud? Where's the arrests for immigration fraud? Where's the arrests for all of the NGO fraud and the USAID fraud? Where's the arrest for the fraud in Ukraine? Where's the arrest for the blackmail? Where's the arrest for the fucking extortion? Where's the arrest for the money laundering? And oh yeah, the drug lords. We've got one who's in prison who said Venezuela, drugs, paying money, buying off American politicians. Where's the arrests? That's a fucking problem. It's not going to get better. Trump can't fix it. Trump doesn't even talk about it. He does not even talk about it anymore. What have we gotten out of Trump? What have we gotten out of Trump? Bunch of fucking soothsaying. Bunch of promises. $5,000 check rebates because we're going to have so many tariffs. $2,000, $1,776. We're going to give away money. We're going to get rid of property taxes. We're going to eliminate the income tax. Nothing, not a fucking thing. Not one. Not even a fucking $5 bill in the mail. Nothing. Folks, what's important to you? What are you thinking about in this Christmas season? This American holiday season, when you look at what's going on. Super chat button right up there. I want to know what's on your mind. Mr. Ooman, let's mix it up. Let's have some fun. What are the other topics? And we got Bob Hunter back with another £5 super chat donation. And he says, John, imagine 7 billion individual souls free from government tyranny. How beautiful our world would be. Bob is saying that right now the planet has 7 billion. I can go with that number. Hard to count them all. Yeah, imagine that. Imagine if countries could not just throw their people in jail. Imagine if criminals around the world were actually held accountable. Imagine if morality and decency had a single standard. The golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Imagine if people respected each other's private property, respected their rights. But what do we have? What happens is we've got government tyranny. It is government tyranny that allows criminals to run around on the street and kill us. It allows them to steal from us. The criminality, the government tyranny, allows businesses to screw us over, to pay us crap, to steal our investments. Banks can steal our money. They can pay us jack shit while they, I think if I had any money I got $51 in my savings account. 51, literally, that's what my savings account has at $51. Let me know if we still have audio out there, guys. Ooman says that he's lost audio, so let me know if we're good still. Okay, very good. Yeah, we've got a problem with everything, right? Everything we do, we have to pay for and we get hurt on. Imagine if government tyranny didn't exist and governments actually did their jobs. At least in the United States of America and the United Kingdom and Europe and Canada and Australia and Japan, if we had that back, if we had control of our countries back and we didn't have non-government interference in our countries buying off politicians so that they could commit all manner of theft and just absolute horrifying social experiments. Transgenderism, folks, is a Jewish belief system that was started back before World War II. Believe it or not, yeah, they had a transgender surgeon, and that was a big deal to them. That's part of their culture. They love homosexuality. They love cross-dressing. They love drag queens. They love the idea of transgenderism. It's part of their belief system. And they're pushing it on children. They're indoctrinating children. In fact, they brag about controlling education and controlling children. It is a multicultural hell because of government tyranny and the fact that they're willing to sell themselves and sell all of us. Bob, the golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If the whole world lived by that, all 7-8 billion of us, what a wonderful world it would be. Instead, we have criminality and government tyranny, and they're actually cooperating and working hand in hand. What a world. Bob Hunter, £2 super chat. He says, hey, you deserve so much more. You are a spark. Well, I appreciate that again, Bob. I'm just me. I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy who grew up loving this country. I learned our history in school, and I loved America. I learned that we're a Christian nation, not an atheistic nation. Certainly not any of the other religions. A Christian nation, right? From the Pilgrims who wanted to escape religious persecution, to later on Christians or agnostics came over. Not atheists, agnostic. People that just believed in God. They said, hey, you're not going to tell me how to believe in God. You're not going to tell me Protestant. You're not going to tell me Catholic. We all get to choose for ourselves. And they had this philosophy, this idea, folks. This was revolutionary, literally. What happened in the 1700s was literally revolutionary on the whole planet for all history. And that's for people to say, we're going to govern ourselves. We will not have a king rule us. We will not have a religion rule us. What an interesting concept. They came up with the Constitution and freedom and liberty. That's an incredible philosophy there. And it worked. Well, it worked until the bankers got involved again and started the Civil War, and then World War I and World War II and every war since then. And they don't want that to happen again. But what a world it would be if we became free. All right. Thank you, sir. Mr. Uman, we're at the 1 hour mark. Holy cow. It is December 21st. And we're at the 1 hour mark. We're going to go 2 hours, or as long as you guys want to stay here. I do get to get up in the morning and go to work. Northern Pike checks in with a $2 super chat. And he says, who puts a red star on top of Christmas trees? LOL. Well, I've got a gold star here, but red star. Not the only red stars I know, folks, are communists. Communist red star. You know, Russia had the red star, and of course China has stars. Actually, they have a red flag with gold stars. Who puts a red star on top of Christmas tree? That's all I could guess, man. Is the Russians. I've never been to Russia. Oh my goodness. With a $2 super chat, Northern Pike says, bacon would be better. Minnesotans on a tree. Minnesotans. Yeah, bacon. Cooked bacon, you bet.
I think he meant mistletoe, and spell checker correct got him.
Oh. Bacon would be better than mistletoe on a tree. Mistletoe, isn't that supposed to go in doorways? Is mistletoe even anymore? Is it even considered a Christmas tradition to get some? First off, mistletoe grows in oak trees, at least it did in California, and it's a fungus. It's a fungus, and yeah. But the old tradition was you hang some mistletoe above the door, and when someone comes in, you can give them a kiss. Well, I think that probably violates all kinds of rules today, right? Last thing you want is somebody you don't want kissing you, especially if they're the same gender as you and they're a fruitcake. Anyways, yeah, bacon. Yeah, bacon on a tree. That'd be great. Bacon over your doorway, kind of to keep the non-bacon religions away from you. Not a bad idea. That's good stuff. Folks, there's a lot of people taking bacon and going to libraries in Europe and going and pulling the Holy Quran off the shelves and smearing bacon on them and putting bacon in between the pages. People have had it with what's going on. Israelis, they're not supposed to have bacon either. It's not kosher. Not kosher. So you got the kosher gland, and then you got the, what is it called? Haram? Whatever their fucking favorite way to eat, the Muslims. Your food has to meet their whatever. Sick of these fucking people. Go back to your own country. Stay the fuck out of ours. Don't bother with us, our politicians, or nothing. Just stay the fuck away from America. Stay away from Europe. Stay away from Canada. Stay away from Australia. That would be great. That really would just solve a lot of problems. But you see, they don't love the countries they're from. You know what they love? Conquering other people. They love to yell at Europeans and say, you guys try and kill everyone, right? I don't hear Europeans saying we need to go kill all the Muslims and kill all the Jews and kill all the Chinese. They don't say that. And it usually is the only people who want war are assholes who have belief systems that are based off of other religions other than Christianity. It's quite a mess we got, folks. Right? This is supposed to be our holiday season, the Christmas season. Now we're getting Ramadan and Hanukkah shoved down our fucking throats again. We can't have Christmas markets and Christmas fairs. Well, unless you're in Poland or Russia. Otherwise, you've got a bunch of these jihad Joes gathering them, their families, and everyone and going down and taking their smelly selves and invading and intimidating and screaming and yelling and putting on a shit show and just scaring off people who want to enjoy the winter holiday holy festivities. I don't know. I just don't know if it's going to get fixed real fast, folks. I just know it's going to need to be fixed. It's going to need to be fixed, or we're going to have bigger problems. I tell you, Mr. Uman, quick message to you. Sorry. Go ahead and there we go. Market update at the foreign precious metals markets opening. Silver is at 67.78. It closed just below 67.50, and gold is at 43.85, which is about where it ended and closed on Friday. Weird stuff going on around the world with respect to confidence in currencies, not just the U.S. dollar, but the Japanese yen and the Australian dollar and the Canadian dollar and the euro and the British pound. There's a lot of concern over its value, and so not only are the people saying, you know what, we should buy gold and silver because that's what you do when things are sketchy. But banks are doing it big time. Not only are they taking gold and using it as a reserve asset, valued at 100%, but they're now starting to tell the people of the country, buy silver. And and the banks are literally, and the governments are buying silver and creating reserves as well. It's going to get wild in the next few weeks and months. I am not an expert, so I can't predict what's going to happen other than to say it's going up. A lot of the intelligent people out there are saying it's going to continue to go up at the same pace. Others are saying it's going to go up at an even faster pace. Some are saying we're going to have 5,000 gold by February. It's just going to explode after Christmas in January here. Some are saying silver is going to go $150 to $200 an ounce by the end of February, March. We're going to have to find out. But what I do know is all of this, whether it goes up a little or a lot or massive, it is a vote of no confidence in the paper, monetary, or currency system. It's a lack of faith in the financialized system, the fiscal system of governments. People are worried because of what they're seeing. They're seeing corrupt governments ignoring their people, destroying their own cultures, their own economies, and they're done. They don't want to have anything to do with it. My suggestion is food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Your primary precious metals should be copper, brass, and lead. If you got anything after that, then of course, if you have a little bit of money, buying either silver or gold, there's a lot of value in just this one little coin. This 1 ounce piece of silver used to be worth $1 until governments got involved, decided to give themselves a checkbook with no accountability. And we're now $38 trillion in the hole and over $100 trillion in unfunded liabilities. That is to say, debt on top of that. Promises made. So now this $1 piece of silver currently is worth over $70, because not only do you have to buy it for $67, almost $68, but you have to pay a premium on top of that. It's going to be an interesting week. It is Christmas week. It's going to be a limited trading week. Hopefully we can make it through all this and out past the new year, and then see where the chips land and where the cards land, and we'll find out. But for now, let's continue our talk. It is December 21st. It is Sunday Night Live. This is The Zoo. This is your show, and I want to know what you want to talk about right here. Christmas, Merry Christmas to one, Merry Christmas to all. Broke Stacker. Sounds like he might have a few of these. Well, I tell you what, if you're a stacker and you bought these, you would be what is, well, I don't want to say commonly known, but it's called, cash poor, asset rich. Now, when I lived in extreme Northern California, just a few years back, a lot of cattle ranchers, and we used to call them cash poor and land rich, because they owned thousands and thousands and thousands of acres of grazing and farmland, but they didn't have two fucking nickels to rub together because it was all buried in their operations. Yeah, broke. But if you own these, you, my friends, have got a lot more than wealth. You have peace of mind. Peace of mind. So Broke Stacker with a $4.99 super chat donation says, why is it so important to have unending war with Russia? Could it be because they don't want to fight the final two white superpowers taking back culture? This is I'm going to give you the $4.99 answer. But yeah, I can explain this. Okay, Russia was started by the Bolsheviks. I'm sorry, the Soviet Union. Communist Russia took over. They killed the Romanov family, the Tsar, bayoneted the daughters. Over 80% of the original Soviet communists were Jewish. There was a Christian, follow me here, a Christian massacre of 10 million Christians throughout Soviet Union's areas. Okay, it was awful, terrible. But over the years, the Soviet Union became more and more white. Right? They became more and more white. But ultimately it failed. And the people that want to own and control Russia, its wealth, its resources, the people, the religion, etc., they don't own it anymore. And since that fall in the 1990s, Russia has been white, Christian, and it has its own banking system. It's not being controlled. Now, there are Muslims there, but those Muslims don't play that game. They're Muslim and they fucking behave. Okay? There are black people in Russia. There are brown people in Russia. I call it white to make the point that they're the majority, and it is a white Christian, shall we say, culture and tradition that all the other races and religions respect and allow. That is the reason Europe does not like Russia, because it is not like them. It is not all fucked up. It is not bought and paid for by bankers. Just like the United States banking system was bought, co-opted in 1913 with the creation of the Federal Reserve System, right? The entire European continent is now owned and controlled by bankers. They started the European Union as an economic, voluntary organization that would help unify Europe and make it a stronger trading bloc, much like the United States of America. The European Union was supposed to be the United States of Europe. And what has it turned into? A fucking tyrannical piece of shit organization that is unelected leaders that prescribe, subscribe, demand every country accept this multicultural crap and millions of foreigners. After telling them that they're evil and that they're having too many kids and they're polluting the planet, I believe Europe creates like 3% of the world's pollution. But they're all being told you have to be taxed, you have to stop driving cars, you have to stop growing food, you have to stop eating cows because you're ruining the planet. They're like 3% of the world's pollution. Even though there's over 1 billion people there, they're 1/7 of the world's population, but they're 3%. Anyways, the bankers that control not only the European Central Bank and the European banking cartels, all the central banks of the countries, and the Federal Reserve of the United States of America, which is itself not federal and it's not a reserve. It's a private bank that is owned by European banks. Oh, yeah. If you would like, read Edward Griffin's The Creature of Jekyll Island, which is the historical recount of how the Federal Reserve came about. So you've got the world banking cartel wanting to get into Russia, and Russia saying, no, you don't get to dominate us, dictate to us, control us, enslave us. We don't want multiculturalism. In fact, they've made it illegal for LGBTQIAP pedophile people to teach at a school, run around out in public and make a fucking mockery. They don't allow them to go to churches and go to libraries and have drag queen shows. No, you want to be a freak, you stay in your fucking closet. That's Russia, right? Their traditions, their culture, morality matters. In fact, over the weekend, you're going to love this shit. Putin and the Russian administration have come out and said that Europe, and by extent, all its allies and friends, including the United States, are being dominated by satanic powers. Does that mean ghosts and demons, or does it just mean evil? It's evil. He's just talking about evil. Not that demons and things like that can't be real, but what they're saying is evil is what is controlling Europe and causing and demanding wars. Yeah, they want they thinking they can break Russia. Europe can't exist without Russia. Crazy business. All right, Mr. Uman, where do we want to go next? It is your guys' show, and we've got Inbred Outlook. What? Is a YouTube member. Thank you very much. And then Inbred Outlook does a $20 super chat donation. It says, long time, no see, how you been? Well, I'm guessing you're on the old YouTube channel, the original YouTube Prepared Mind channel, where we have 80,000 subscribers. It was destroyed by YouTube, erased, canceled, shit on us, everything else, Mr. Outlook. And then a few months ago, they decided they would give it back. Except they won't monetize it. They won't let anyone know that we're doing videos. None of that shit, right? Unless you go into your subscriptions and find, oh, look at that. That John guy's back, right? So we've been here the whole time. We just went to our backup channel. And we've been working with X and, of course, the preparedmind.club. I've been good. probably never been better, except getting old sucks. Oh, there's no dignity to having aches and pains and have your back snap, crackle, and pop all the time. But other than that, I've been good. My sons have grown up. One's married. I've got another grandchild on the way. Life is good. I'm here in Florida. I spent some time on a jungle adventure in the RMZ, but I realized I needed to be here in America to fight the good fight for my country. Probably in the last, certainly the last 500 years, the most influential, powerful, and wealthy nation on the planet, which is now under siege and has the equivalent of worm tongue in its ear telling it how to run itself. But all has been good. I really appreciate the super chat donation. That helps keep the lights on, keeps us here. Very good. And I don't plan on leaving. I don't plan on quitting. What else am I going to do? Well, besides work my ass off. And I think you guys know what that's all about. It's like, how do we know? How do we know what's going to happen to our money? We don't. How do we know what's going to happen to our economy and our jobs? We don't. How can we save? How can we save wealth? And I'm not talking about just, the odd coin or such. How do you save enough wealth to live if you lose your job, if the economy takes a shit, if the government completely fucks everything up, which they do everything in their power to make happen? Yep, I guess we're going to find out. Anyways, thank you very much and good to have you back. Tell friends, share internet address. Be sure to thumbs up this video because it needs to go far. It needs to go wide. Mr. Uman, what do we got next up here? Holy cow. Oh, my goodness. Bob Hunter from Scotland and his pussycat have done a 50-pound super chat donation, folks. Any shot or any $50 or more super chat buys me a scotch, and it's an 18-year scotch. And folks, the very first time I ever got drunk, it was on, I believe, Cuddy Sark scotch. It tasted like wood. I didn't fucking like it. I got drunk, was sick as a dog, swore I'd never drink that shit again. And actually, I haven't. But I do drink scotch. I've learned to appreciate and love it, as well as admiring and loving the Scots and also the Irish and the English and everyone. This is a shot glass from pewter.com. Thank you guys there. Merry Christmas to one and all. Bob, I'm going to get to your topic. That, sir, is good. I'm curious what scotch tasted like 500 years ago. I'm curious what the scotch William Wallace sipped on. I'm curious. It'd be interesting to taste. But you asked the question, your thoughts on love and compassion. 275-pound white jarhead is usually not the person you want to ask about love and compassion. I'm going to start with compassion, though, and I'll do my very best here, Bob, and you'll have to forgive me. It is the Christmas season. And compassion. Let's talk about who you have compassion for. We'll start with family. Compassion. It's very similar to empathy, right? They're not really synonymous, but they're used in a lot of the human emotion. I'm a logical person. I'm not a feelings-based person, but I understand compassion. My older son says I'm too sentimental. I don't care, right? That's the compassion in me that I have, that I want my family to know that I care. If they're having a hard day, I care. I have compassion for them, right? I empathize because I've had bad days. If they have good days, my compassion is there as well, right? And I empathize and I want to celebrate and have compassion for all the layers and levels of pain and happiness, difficulty and trials, as well as successes, victories. There's compassion in there, but not just for family. I extend it also to friends and then coworkers, right? I listen to their stories. I learn their history. I have a great amount of compassion for them. But I even have compassion for my enemies, believe it or not. It doesn't mean I'm going to give them license to rob, rape, and kill, or to continue to commit any crimes. No, I feel sorry for them. It's more compassion, more on the side of pity. The enemies of freedom. I pity them. They don't understand how good it is to wake up, because I've woken up and not had people wanting to ruin my life and kill me and fire me and take my job. Right? You wake up and you just feel good and you can live your life. You can pursue your dreams. The enemies of America, the enemies of freedom, the enemies of Christianity don't have that. They're fucking miserable. They hate themselves. They hate children. They hate us. They hate law and order. And they've invented a system through which they can victimize others by themselves claiming to be victims. They have a system of rules and behavior that allows them to victimize and steal from others and then feel good about themselves. And somehow they created a system, a belief system, where they can commit all manner of crimes and can excuse it by saying, well, they weren't good enough Muslims, or I've got a chicken over here that I can strangle, and that'll make everything fine. It's right. I have compassion for those people, but I'm not going to allow them to play the victim card on me. I feel sorry for fucking Netanyahu. What a jackass. What a piece of shit. To know that he can manipulate not only the Israeli people, but to whatever extent he can, Europe, and of course the United States of America. He has no respect for others. I mean, how can you have respect for others if you don't have respect for yourself? They don't understand. They're short. They're short on all that. They're like this close to being soulless if they aren't already, right? Now, that's my thoughts on compassion. Compassion you can have for everyone, right? Now, this whole concept of about love. Well, one of the things I used to hear as a kid all the time is, Catholics, Christian Catholics, they love everybody, right? They love their enemies. They love, what is love? I think that's one of those things that we as humans actually can't define, because it is a feeling that we say comes from our heart or comes from our head, that we love something, meaning we like it, we value it. It's supreme. It's something that can't be bought, but it's something that can be earned. Love we have for family, and having forgiveness also, or a forgiving heart, or a compassionate heart, allows us to empathize and forgive people in our families, because they're not perfect, just as we're not perfect. So you love them and you want them to be better, and so you forgive them, you have compassion, you work with them, right? You can cooperate. Well, in order for that to all work together, family, friends, community, and country, you've got to have something in common. To have love for all the people of your country, to have compassion, to empathize with them, whether their situation is dire and horrible, or they're just mediocre, or they're just living life really good, right? You've got to have something in common. And that's what tradition and culture is about. I talk about it frequently now. The American law, our Constitution, our culture and tradition is actually based off of our religious foundation. Or you could say the golden rule, which is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And then your salvation is very personal, right? But leaving that behind, love and compassion. I love my family. Even the assholes in it, I love them. and I have compassion for them and I empathize with them. And right. But then again, my coworkers, I love them. My community, I love the community I'm in. I do know that 4 or 5 out of everyone in my community is a Democrat, and they vote for that shit knowing they're destroying this country. I don't love them the way I love my brother or my mother or my father. But I have empathy, I have compassion, and I have love in my heart, which is combined with a hope. Right, here's this hope thing that I hope that they see that I am nice, forgiving, compassionate, empathetic, and that they in turn do their part to become a better person. And that's the best I can do. But when it comes to someone who is not part of my community or my culture or my traditions and don't respect my law and our history and who we are, who don't share this concept, this golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, but rather they do unto others what they can get away with. Stealing, killing, raping, robbing. I don't love them in the sense that it's just, I love everybody. Sorry. If you're doing what you do and you know what you're doing, and they're like, I didn't know the rules. No. Right. Would any of these fucking Pakistanis or people from India or people from any other Arab country or any of these Muslim African countries, would they like it if somebody attacked them, beat the living shit out of them, drugged them, took them to some secret room, and forgive me, folks, I'm going to get a little graphic here, stripped them down, and then violated them, sodomized them with a fucking giant dildo in the ass? Do they think that that's nice? Do they want that done to them? Then here we are at the golden rule. You do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You do not kidnap and rape little boys. You do not kidnap and rape little girls. You don't drug them to have your way with them. That is not the golden rule. You're not part of my culture, my traditions, any sort of fucking morality or decency, and therefore I don't have a whole lot of love or compassion for them. I have a lot of pity. I guess you could call that compassion, that I wish and hope it was better for them, but they seem to be fucking lost. They're lost in some mental hell that they don't understand that when they interact with others, they hurt them. And it creates a society that wants to hurt each other. That's what we got in this country now with Antifa and BLM and all these LGB fruitcakes. They want children to be sodomized. They want them to be used as sex toys. They want to kill the white people. They want to kill black conservatives and Hispanic conservatives. They want to kill us all. It's hard to have love and compassion for those people. I feel sorry for them. I pity them because they don't seem to understand. But they look at us and think of us as the enemy, and they can't win a debate. So what they've decided is that the best thing to do is to attack us, destroy the culture, destroy the country, replace us with a bunch of fucking barbaric scumbags, and then hurt us. But when it comes to just Bob, the love and compassion I have for, well, your nation and the people in it, Scotland. I've met Scots and I fucking love them. You just get a sense. Is it because you have so much in common, even though you're across the ocean, you're across the pond? Right? You're not just in England, you're up in Scotland. And as far as I know, you're in the Highlands. Right? We're worlds apart, yet we're so much the same. Same with the fucking Irish. Right? The Canadians. One of the jokes here in America is to call them snow Mexicans, right? And then the fucking Aussies down under, and the Tasmanians, and the fucking New Zealand, the Kiwis. I love them, right? When I meet someone from Europe, I met a nice German couple the other day, right? I was wearing a Grinch shirt, going to a fundraiser, and just had some big laughs in the elevator. We were going up to one floor where some fundraising banquet was, and they were just guests. Here in Florida. Great people. The French, the Spanish, English, or rather anyone in the UK. The Italians, oh shit, Italians crack me up. They're so fucking passionate about everything. You just feel a connection with them. I met, I had to go to the bank, and the lady had an Eastern European accent. And we went back and forth for several minutes. Finally discovered she was Albanian, but had a good laugh. And I said, well, what am I? She said, I don't know. I said, how about Swedish? She goes, oh, I guess I could see that. I said, how about German? She goes, oh, yeah. Anyways, it was good, right? You can't get that with something that doesn't have the golden rule. Chinese people, Japanese people, Koreans, and how about the Pacific Islanders? Fuck, I love those people. We don't look anything alike. I know the Pacific Islanders, of course, were converted to Christianity when all of the explorers went through. So they're largely Christian and Christian-based societies. But the goodness in their hearts, you can just feel it, right? You have so much love and compassion for a people that you meet. The Japanese, that's a culture that is so different from America, yet I feel connected to them also. Not the same way I do Europeans, not the same way I do for the Islanders, but still very much so. Central Americans, South Americans, right? Again, I know that they're Latin, that they're Catholic based, that they've got hundreds of years of history that's different than our history up here. At the same time, they've got a lot of their own indigenous beliefs that were kept and stored in their cultures and traditions that were added. But still, I meet them and they fucking crack me up. Hondurans and Nicaraguans and Guatemalans and Panamanians and Ecuadorians. I met some Peruvians the other day, Brazilians all over in Florida here. It's tons of fun. Lots of compassion because they're good people. Good people. It's just, it's interesting. In any event, let us continue if we shall. We've got a lot to talk about. We're running out of time. Less than half an hour. Now we got Con Wacky. Holy shit. He's got a $76.20 super chat donation. Woo! No, it's I did not drop the bullet shot glass. I've been using the Marine Corps shot glass I got from pewter.com. But just wow, I'm gonna have to do it. That's a good shot there. 76.20, folks. And then we'll get into what Con Wacky wants to discuss. Once again, $50 or more. It's just harder to see this one. I'll probably go back to using this one next week here, my bullet shot glass. But here's to you, Con Wacky. Semper Fi, brother. Mother's milk. Woo! He says, hey, that wasn't your bullet shot glass. No, it wasn't that I dropped. Take a shot and get yourself a new one. And I know how it is to do a job without the proper tools. Oh, I hear you, man. Got to have the proper tools. You didn't give me a lot to talk about here. But let's just talk about proper tools. I'll see if I can give you your money's worth here. The reason this channel was started back in December of 2013, my now ex-wife was gone working elsewhere out of town, and it was just me and my sons and my palatial estate. And they go to bed, and so I was like, okay, they're going to bed. They got school. I've got a couple hours. Why don't I just start talking on the internet and see if what I talk about is of any interest to anyone else? And so I thought I would talk about prepping, which is something that I've done since I was 14 years old, and training, something I've done since I was, 14 years old. But I thought, what is it that we need? What is the problem? Well, there's a problem with the world. Government is not responsive. Government is not respectful of the people. Government's not following the Constitution. Government seems to believe that it is always right and it doesn't give a fuck about us, right? So we better get prepared. And I thought, well, what do we need to follow? What's our guideline for that? Well, Maslow's hierarchy. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Never mind love and affection and self-actualization at the top of the pyramid, just surviving. You better have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, and a means of self-defense, right? And that's it. That's what you need, right? So, and those are the tools you need, right? The tools and supplies. It doesn't do any good to have tools if you don't have supplies. So, right, if you've got a gun and some ammunition, it's not going to do you a lot of good if you don't have food and water and shelter, right? And if you're thinking, right, you need a plan, right? That's part of the way you approach everything. You need tools, you need supplies, you need an understanding of what you're dealing with. That's why we talk about current events all the time, and we're documenting the steps that are being taken by governments, not just America, but around the world, and then what people are doing, and what the culture is doing, what they're trying to do with our social system, meaning education, military, business, everything that is our society, right? And that's what, that's what we've been talking about and working on, what you need, and then how you think about things. It's all up to you. I'm just a sounding board. I just have my ideas. I've been a prepper literally my whole life. Prepping, saving, storing, everything I could. And it doesn't cost you your life. It doesn't cost you prosperity. It doesn't cost you comfort. It's just and it's not even a lifestyle. It's just what you do in addition to what life is supposed to be about. In fact, when we first started the show for the first few years, we had people, we had elderly people come on, and I'm sure they're still out there saying, this whole thing, this idea of being a prepper is nothing new. Even though the world wasn't completely tyrannical 70, 80, 90 years ago, they're like, no, that's just what you used to do. You used to save food and water and make sure that you had that. And you needed to survive. And so you had all these things as your foundation. And of course, self-defense, guns, rifles, shotguns for hunting, to survive, to protect yourself, proper tools. But this right here, the prepared mind, is probably the biggest tool that without it, you're lost. Now, like any other set of tools and supplies, it can't be all on its own. It can't just have a sharp mind and nothing else. You're going to be very thirsty and hungry, and you're going to be victimized pretty quick. So, but it is, I believe, the prepared mind, which is why we named the channel after it. And it's an expression that was coined, made popular by Louis Pasteur. Luck or chance favors the prepared mind. In other words, if you have all the tools, if you've developed the talents, if you've thought about and studied, then life will favor you, your survival, and even a level of success, a higher measurement of success. Anyways, great topic. Very nice and generous super chat. I really appreciate it. It will help keep the bills paid, and this bottle of scotch is getting a little thin. So you're going to have to get me another one of those here pretty quick. And you, my friend, helped. By the way, speaking of inflation, scotch has gone up about 20% around here. Not a good thing. Not a good thing. Anyways, let's continue if we shall. Mr. Uman, who's next? Silver is testing 68 and gold is testing 4,400 all-time highs. And this is not America. It's over in China. The Chinese, the Asian market, Shanghai. We'll talk more about that later. Right now, we got Big Dan the Man with a $2 super chat. And he says, metals and my stocks have doubled in the last 2 years. You bet. You bet they have. Because probably, well, look, to own gold and silver, you just buy it. That's it. And then you set it down and you don't do anything with it. It is a store of wealth. But because the value of the precious metals, gold and silver especially, have been suppressed and held down so bankers could buy it and hoard it and control it and dictate terms, right? They've held it down. because they don't want the dollar looking bad, because they want the dollar looking supreme. They don't want gold up here with the dollar and silver, because that makes the dollar look weaker. It's a mess. Stocks have doubled because, well, people have been pouring their investments, hoping to find a way to get ahead. And I'm glad you've done as well as you have, Dan, with Tesla. There's technologies and company out there, folks, that are great. Great. Unfortunately, the government is the biggest risk and the biggest threat to us all, not just our safety and our rights and law and order, but also our wealth. One of the things that was written and said by the founding fathers of this country after writing the Declaration of Independence. Let me see if I can find it here. Oh, yeah. There's just so much to it. It's a very well written line. What I'm going to need, though, of course, is some glasses. Bear with me, folks. Bear with me. You know, money isn't just money. It's not just money. The last sentence of the Declaration of Independence. I'm going to do the last paragraph. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for rectitude of our intentions, do in the name and by authority of the good people of these colonies solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And therefore, and for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Now, the reason I wanted to read all of that, turns out it was 2 sentences in the whole paragraph, is that the people of colonial America weren't independent minions running around. They realized that they were part of a community that had shared culture, traditions, interests, and goals, and that they mutually pledged, which means together they pledged to each other their lives, their fortunes, and their honor. People don't talk about honor anymore, do they? Not a lot. But they pledged to each other that they're going to work together with honor for their mutual benefit and their fortunes. In other words, the quality of life. In America, our stock market is supposed to be that. If we have extra wealth, we work together to fund the businesses, the corporations, as shareholders, just like we're supposed to be shareholders in the country. We're supposed to have representatives representing us for our mutual benefit, our lives, and our fortunes. And instead, we get hard times. But for now, at least Big Dan and many people are realizing that, well, put yourself in the right companies and you'll be protected. Put any value, any wealth you have into precious metals, and you, by taking paper out of the bank and putting metal in your life, silver and gold, you hold it, you own it. It doesn't matter what they do. Doesn't matter what they do, you always have your wealth. All right, let us continue if we shall. Mr. Uman, where are we going? We got Northern Pike with a $2 super chat, and he says, satire. Well, I got to tell you, reserve pig farmlands for jihad jails. I'm going with jihad jails and pedophile jails. Yeah, jihad and pedophile jails. You bet. That would be great. But satire, this show, satire, sense of humor. I I think it's really important. You've got to have a sense of humor. Good golly. If you don't, you'll become depressed, angry, lose your mind. You've got to have a way to vent and laugh. Doesn't mean you don't pay attention to all the evil that's going on out there, but laugh. And that's why I try and bring humor in and satire and show you guys this is what I do to let off some steam, right? Talking about stuff. That's what a shrink is for, is it not? A psychologist or psychiatrist. You're supposed to go talk to them, tell them your problems, and you're like, hey, thanks, doc. I feel better about myself. I feel better about the situation. And the guy's like, just get out of my fucking office, man. I don't want to hear about it anymore. But they get paid very well for it. And I've had psychologists for friends for the last, 20 years. One good friend in particular named Tim. And I just call him Dr. Tim. Brilliant psychologist, nice guy. And great sense of humor. But yeah, this satire, talking, getting it off my chest. That's why I talk to people at work. I talk to people on the street. I talk to people at stores. I talk to family. I don't care what their beliefs are. I just want to talk. And if they want to get mad, well, shit. I go, geez, why are you so angry? I get to play psychologist. Tell me about your mother. Oh, good stuff. It's Christmas time, folks. Christmas is upon us. What are we going to talk about next, though, that's SHDF related, Mr. Uman? We've got Big Dan the Man back yet again, pow, with $5. And he says, one of the dumbest things our government doing is invading Afghanistan after 9/11. Bin Laden was long gone to another place by that time. Yeah, supposedly he was hiding somewhere else, right? How many times did they kill Bin Laden? I know of at least 3 different times that my memory tells me the government, the mainstream media said, we got Bin Laden, we killed him. And then a couple of months later, they needed another Bin Laden. It's ridiculous. Now, with respect to Afghanistan, see, you and I look at this as free people that operate and work within our culture, our system of government, our traditions and our laws. And we go, you don't just go and attack another country. You don't invade it. But that's how we think because we're individuals. Now, imagine if you were part of a group, a very powerful group of people with no morals, no scruples. Thank you, Uman. No compunction about killing people, destroying companies, using other countries and their militaries to get the conquest that you desire. That's Afghanistan. They told us there's weapons of mass destruction. Guess what little, tiny, shitty country in the Middle East told our government weapons of mass destruction in Iraq and Bin Laden's in Afghanistan? Guess what country that was? They're our greatest ally. Anyways, they gave us a bunch of information. It was bullshit. Colin Powell went in front of Congress, said, Iraq, so Hussein's got weapons of mass destruction. So we invaded, right? We toppled their government and controlled their oil. When I say we, I mean the banks. Afghanistan is a backwards ass, fucked up Muslim nation that what? Has not been, had its resources discovered and then explored and utilized. So for 20 odd years, almost, our country was in Afghanistan, our military. First thing they did was increase the opium drug output. Thank you very much, government. Then they exploited the fuck out of their mineral resources and just have done nasty things to the country. It's to enrich these bankers and enrich the corporations they own. It's awful. It's terrible. It really is. But that's what they do. And Bin Laden, Dan, was the excuse. 9/11 was the excuse. 9/11, never forget. Never forget 9/11. It was the Saudis. It was a bunch of Muslim Saudis that flew planes into the Twin Towers and took them down. Never forget. Well, now they want us to forget. Oh, it's Islamophobic. Don't be an Islamophobe. Right now they need Well, now they need us to love the Muslims, even though they want to blow us up and destroy our country. It's what story are they telling this week, right? Your head spins if you believe what they say Monday, because by Wednesday, Thursday, it's a complete different story. Just like when the Republicans go to war, like George W. Bush wants us to go to war with Iraq and Afghanistan, the Democrats hated it. The Democrat politicians and then all the Democrat followers, they fucking hate Bush and everything else. Well, the Democrats get in power under Obama, and he drone bombs and goes to war with more fucking people, period, than you can shake a fucking stick at, and the Democrats are supportive. And then the Republicans try shitting on him, and it's like, the individual, if you just leave the partisan shit out and you look at what's being done, you realize that they're trying to play us as fools and morons. And for the most part, the American people are. They're lazy, they're slow, they haven't paid attention. We're the opposite. We're paying attention, we're looking, learning, watching, and realizing who our allies are and who our enemies are. And our enemies are those who profit through exploiting us and making us pay for their standard of living. Let's continue. Mr. Uman, where are we going? We got Viking Boomer back with a $10 super chat donation. And he says, the first world nations are being invaded by savages to even out the playing field. Once completed, the one world government will take over. Well, this is a widely held theory that there is a one world government, and it's gone by many names. The New World Order is the general term that's been used for decades. Currently, there's an organization called the World Economic Forum that meets in Davos, Switzerland, and it is headed by very powerful politicians. It's directed by billionaires from Europe and from other countries around the world that are part of a cabal, an ideological business cabal that believes they should control everything, including what you believe, how you think, even down to where you live, what you eat, and how long you get to live. New World Order, right? They meet. It's the Bilderberg Group. Well, it's the Council on Foreign Relations. It's the Trilateral Commission. It's the Club of Rome. It's actually all of those things. All of those things. Those are just organizations they work in and out of, and they control them all. The CIA is a New World Order information intelligence gathering system. It works hand in hand with the Five Eyes and Mossad, Interpol. Right? First world nations. Well, you see, these people took control of America and Europe and England, Australia, and now they need us, the regular people. People like you, Viking, and Bob in Scotland, and Steve Conlon in England, and our friends down in Australia and New Zealand, and our brothers up in Canada. Now that they have control of the governments, they need to get rid of us, the people. And so they're bringing in these fucking savages from these shithole countries to murder us, kill us, steal from us, impoverish us, replace us, and of course, rape the women. Because what a great prize that is, right? You bet. Because this one world government system, the New World Order, does not want smart people under it. They want obedient slaves. They want to be so powerful that they can't be stopped. They want us retarded mentally, so we can't figure out who the fuck they are and what they're doing. Well, it's kind of hard to do with intelligent Canadians and Australians and Brits and Canadians and Americans and Europeans, right? Hard to do. You're not fooling us. So what do? They guilt the shit out of you. Oh, you Islamophobe, you homophobe, you anti-Semite. How dare you look at exactly what we're doing and how we're doing it and seeing who the evil people are in the world. You should feel bad and hate yourself. In fact, we're going to control the newspapers, control the media, control Hollywood, control all countries. And then we're going to tell everyone through this massive propaganda system, including the educational system with your children, and tell everyone that you should be hated, that you should hate yourself, that white people, white culture, European culture needs to be fucking destroyed. And that's precisely what they are doing. Big Dan the Man, $5 super chat, says the fighting in the Middle East against themselves for way over 1,500 years or more. Why does anyone think it will ever end? They are an evil force. You bet. You will know a tree by its fruit. In other words, is that tree good or bad? Well, what fruit does it produce? No fruit? Poison fruit? What does Islam produce? Yeah, for 1,500 fucking years, those people have done nothing but threaten to kill everyone, try and kill everyone, inbreed, rape, right? They're just a barbaric fucking culture that thinks it's superior to everyone else and blindly obeys the Holy Quran. And then you've got the other Middle East religion that teaches its people, that is, anyone that worships that God, right, in the Talmud, gets to believe they're superior and that they can kill everyone and use everyone and have sex with everyone that they want, and that everyone is going to be their slave. But they don't do it with the sword. They do it through deception, through lies. They're not good people, right? Right? Between the Muslims and the people that practice Talmudic Judaism, they've been either killed or kicked out of Europe multiple times, multiple countries, over centuries and centuries and centuries. In fact, Christianity itself, the leader of Christianity, the creator, the God of Christianity, Jesus, said what? These people are of the synagogue of Satan, Satan being enemy, adversary, evil, bad. Right? Why would he say that? Why would he go to the temple and take a whip and fucking chase these people out of, well, the temple or the church, if you will? Because they were doing evil there. Right? And so we continue with this game, this battle between religions, which is cultures, traditions, fundamental belief systems. What culture and tradition and belief system has produced the most good for humanity? That would be Christianity. And it's had its hiccups and burps, folks. I'm not going to fucking lie about that. Christian kings have been shit. The popes have been shit. The Protestants had their witch burning. But all in all, the most productive, the most inventive, they have given light and technology and health to the world. That would be Christian nations. Just saying. All right, we're past 2 hours, but Uman says we got more stuff on this, well, 21st of December, this Christmas program. And Northern Pike with a $2 super chat is back. And he wants to join the philosophical discussion of compassion and love and says soul, spirit, humanity, respect, unconditionally. That's what love is. Thank you very much, Northern Pike. I don't believe in unconditional love. I am not God. I'm not the Almighty. I don't have to love somebody that wants to kill me. It's not my job. Right? I should love good people. I'm not going to love my enemy. I'm not going to have compassion on them and allow them to kill me. Right? I think probably the best thing I could do is kill my enemy. Send them to see the Creator and let them answer for themselves. Right? In other words, kill them all, let God sort them out. It's not my job. I would like to be a different world, though. It would be great if the world was people like all of us. Different colors, sure. Different areas of the world, sure. Looking different, of course. Why not? Who cares? If we could all share one thing in common. The golden rule. The golden rule. That would be nice, wouldn't it? All righty, let's continue. Northern Pike back with a $2. Says, what do you think silver hoards China battery future? Okay, the silver question. Back in 2016, after my divorce, I started looking around going, holy shit, what am I going to do with my life? I need to study some stuff. I need to figure out money because I lost a fucking fortune. And I thought, if I make money, what I need to do is find an investment that works, one that doesn't rely on others, and I can learn about, right? So I learned about precious metals, gold and silver. And at the time, silver was extra interesting to me because of the fundamentals. Silver is a precious metal. It's always been money throughout all of human history. It's money. In fact, the word for money is silver in many languages. But silver is produced, and when I first started studying, it was 9-to-1. It's rare. And it's produced as a byproduct. Over half the silver produced is a byproduct of mining lead, zinc, copper, and gold, right? And maybe some other metals beside, right? So it's rare, it's hard to find, and there's not many dedicated silver mines. It's valuable in the medical industry. It's valuable in the military industry. It's valuable in solar panels, industrially. It's used for jewelry. It's used for money. It's used in nuclear energy and power plants, right? It is, I discovered, the most useful metal on the planet. It is the second most useful thing. The most useful, meaning it's used for so many different purposes, is crude oil. It is fuel, gasoline, diesel, tars, asphalts, plastics, chemicals, a lot of petrochemicals out there. Medicines even. Yeah, medicines. Can you believe that shit? Silver is number 2 in the world, folks. It's number 2. All the different uses that only silver can fill. So I thought, okay, the silver's rare. It has many uses. It's needed for society, for technology. It's in every computer chip. It helps miniaturize circuitry because of what it does. It's the most reflective metal. So I learned all about the fundamentals of silver. And the further I got into it, I realized it is undervalued. So I got into the economics of silver, right? How it's traded, how it's treated. It's treated as an industrial metal. It's traded on the Wall Street. I learned about the COMEX and the systems and the LBMA and the London bullion market. Anyways, and then now Shanghai, and right, I've learned all about this, and I've discovered there's a problem. There's a severe shortage of silver. And lo and behold, we found out that there's a structural deficit, that the world actually consumes far more silver than it produces every year, meaning wherever there's stockpiles of any silver that was left over in the past, they're now being consumed and consumed very quickly. And then something else came up. Batteries. This question of how do we power the electronic vehicle revolution? How do we electrify the world? Power production, power transmission, power storage, power usage. So EVs have come about. Well, you need a lot more power if you're going to trade petroleum products and use electricity to push cars down the road. Well, we're going to need nuclear power. Whole nother story. But nuclear power plants use an awful lot of silver. But if you come back over to here, the EVs, they like, what kind of batteries do we have? Well, you got nickel cadmium. You got acid batteries, acid lead batteries. They came up with this lithium ion battery stuff. Well, it takes a charge. They can be recharged a lot more than another battery. It just seemed to be the best battery at the time. Well, they've been working on a silver battery. I guess there's also a sodium battery out there, but silver battery. Samsung, a Korean company, has come up with a silver battery that takes about 1 ounce of silver per every cell. And every car has anywhere from 24 to 72 batteries or 128, whatever the fuck it is, right? Depending on how big the vehicle is. In any event, silver going into batteries, if that becomes popular, it's unfeasible. There's not enough silver in the world if they want to put batteries in every car with silver. They charge twice as fast. I'm sorry. Instead of 9 hours, they charge in 9 minutes. They last twice as long. You get twice the mileage, right? And twice the life. They'll last not 10 years, but 20 years. One of the secret problems Uman and I talked about is if you're going to charge the battery in 9 minutes instead of 9 hours, you're going to have to put 500 amps of power in there, because 30 amps of power or 40 amps is all you have in your garage, and it takes 9 hours, right? Of course, you're going to take a lot more power. You need a lot more amps and shall we say, electrical capacity or supply to shove into that battery so quick. Kind of like going to one of these super stations, right? You can charge a car in 1 hour versus 9 hours at home. It's because they're pumping a lot of juice in there. So your feed lines coming from your power company into your house, and you're going to need a much bigger system. Be that as it may, even if it still takes 9 hours to charge your battery or your car that has silver batteries, you'll still get double the mileage. So, and then China, it's leaked out of China that China now has their own silver batteries. And come January 1st here, which is in 10 days, China is going to put export restrictions. Yeah, you have to put the same amount of electricity in. That means you need a much bigger hose, right? Yeah. Let's just say your battery's like a pool, and it takes 10,000 gallons of water. Well, if you can fill it in 9 hours with a garden hose, that's because you've only got that much stream coming out of the garden hose. But if you're saying, look, I'm going to fill that pool in 9 minutes, you're talking high pressure fire truck size hoses, right? And yeah, you're filling that thing. It's going to take a lot bigger hose. Anyways, right, silver is going to become something very different to the mentality of the world. All the shit it's the fan going on, all the war, all the bullshit over technology and controlling people and the laws and banking. Yeah, silver is going to be something that is going to show itself to be incredibly important in our lives while we put up with all the other crazy shit that's in our lives. All right, let's move on if we can. What have we got, Mr. Uman? Woo! 2 hours and 15 minutes. We're going long. And we got James Skinnis checking in. I got your emails, man. Been so busy. Life, Christmas, family, weekend. I appreciate it all. $3 super sticker. Thank you, Mr. Skinnis. I'll be checking in on you later. And, of course, we'll catch up. Same with Mr. Skylight. Thank you, sir. Rudy Gazzuti out there, man. Wow. Mr. Uman, who's next? What do we got going? We got bump, Blue Cord Devil checking in with a Christmas $50 super chat right there. Mr. Blue Cord Devil, thank you, sir. And tell you what, Marine Corps shot glass from pewter.com. Make sure I don't overfill and kill myself. Woo! Got to stay medicated. And good old-fashioned medication there from the Glenfiddich. All right, Blue Cord. Peace and prayers, John, Jolene, Uman, and everyone else. Watch your six. Stay calm. Stay armed. Merry Christmas to y'all. May the new year be good to y'all. Thankful to have y'all as friends. And indeed, I consider a lot of you family. I have a lot of compassion and love for you because you're good Americans, good humans, good Christians, good people. Semper Fi means always faithful. Faithful to what you know, what you believe, how you act and carry yourself in your head and your heart. You know who you are. Semper Fi. Thank you, Blue Cord Devil. All right, Mr. Uman, we've gone late. We just hit 2 hours and 15 minutes on this, Christmas Sunday Night Live. What do we want to discuss next? Is there anything? Just seeing silver spike to 68.45. Woo! Gold is topped 4,400. Silver opened at 67.38, folks. That's where it closed. So it's already up a buck. It's going to get interesting. Folks, chance favors the prepared mind. Get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Merry Christmas to all. I love you all. I want the best for everyone. I want everyone to play, live, love, and learn the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And of course, be sure and put out cookies and milk for Santa Claus. I'll see you all 0 Dark 30 tomorrow. And we'll talk about what's happening and we'll see where we go. And then in a couple days, I'll do Twas the Night Before Christmas. And of course, hookers and blow. I'll see you all then. Good night.
Ho, 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 ho.